in the beginning of the school year, I remember there being this email, and I even looked up to like find to make sure that I knew what I was talking about.
Sure.
And it talked about us getting charged $125 in the beginning of the year for a required COVID test, a flu shot, and a physical. So why haven't we gotten that COVID test yet?
So as we started into the semester, the NAIA was going to expect us to do COVID testing. They later changed their mind on that plan. But that $125 fee also went to other things. It's gone to provide your physical for all of our student athletes. Again, this is a student athlete fee. It's not a COVID fee. It's a student athlete fee. That's how it shows up. So it covers your physical. It covers your flu shot that we wanted everybody to get. So we wanted to make sure it was just provided to everybody. And it also paid for the extra expenses associated with athletics this year. It just is more expensive to run our athletic programs and put all the preventative measures into place. You know, water bottles, extra masks, all these different pieces that we need to make sure that we're keeping the campus and our student athletes safe while they're participating.
I know at least some of the other schools in my sport are testing
Mm-hmm.
because we've even talked about how we can't go to certain meets
Mm-hmm.
or that certain teams didn't want to attend our home meet for cross in the beginning of the year because we weren't testing, but they were. Why aren't we getting tested like every other month or once a month like some of these other schools are doing? Or
Sure. Again, the research out there is not showing that population testing is the most effective way to be safe. Again, every institution needs to do what they believe to be in the best interest of their population and their students. We have not found that to be necessary or even healthy and the right thing to do for our campus or for our community. Again, we're making these decisions in consultation with Saline County. The struggle with population testing, sometimes it creates a false sense of security, as Dan's talked about before, that, I've got the test and I'm negative. Well, you may be negative because it's not developed in your body well enough and you go about life. And so you're not really protecting anybody in the same sort of ways. And so we're not feeling it to be the most effective. Again, we've watched this with other peer institutions who are also not doing population testing. And our incident rates are still lower than many of those other institutions. So again, we're watching data, we're watching our peers, we're talking to lots of people and continuing to refine our plans. At this point, we're still not seeing the evidence is there that we need to change our process.
okay, so as opposed to like doing more like of a surveillance method where like, we're trying to watch everyone and like, try and catch stuff as soon as it stems up, it's more like diagnostic where it's kind of just like reacting to like when people do start showing symptoms and then like testing them as appropriately
Sure.
designated by the county. Or
Yeah, I would say it's reactive is a fair word, but it's also in combination with all the other things we're doing on campus every day in terms of making sure people are wearing their masks, making sure they're keeping distances, that classrooms are appropriately distanced, that practices are putting all these protocols into place. I really do believe in many ways we've done things really well. Our coaches, our faculty, the staff across campus have been diligent about making sure all the preventative things are also in place, in addition to when something does come up as a reactive, that we're prepared to deal with that.
Okay. Have any of these preventative measures, are they going to change from how they were first semester?
Yeah, I will say that you're going to continue to see vigilance. Our mask patrol will continue around campus. We will definitely be, like we were in the first couple of weeks, you'll see us in multiple buildings throughout the day, reminding people to make sure they're making good decisions. When you get back into the cafeteria to start eating meals in there, it's going to be limited to 2 people per table. Because all the research is showing the 3 places that you're most likely to pass it is when you eat, meet, and greet. And so we want to remind students that just because you're eating, you are not protected from other people. There's this sort of sense that if I have a water bottle and I'm walking around the student center, I don't have to have my mask on. That doesn't make sense. It's illogical. So we're going to do some things to remind people about the safety that comes with that. Also, people like to come up and hug each other or pat each other on the backs and not do that with masks on. That's not responsible. We need to make sure that we are excited to see people you're expressing that, but not doing it in the ways that remove the safety features that need to be there. So we'll do some more education and reminders as we restart the semester.
So how's the campus going to kind of work in the week that each of us are going to be quarantining as students? So like, when am I going to be able to go get food from the caf? Am I going to have like my styrofoam boxes kind of like piling up in my room and then
So first of all, everybody's going to be getting their own reusable food containers when they check in. That's part of the reason we're doing check-in. It's one of the other things we're doing in addition to giving people their keys back and doing their temperature check. Every person will be given 3 or 4 pieces of reusable containers to take to the cafeteria. And what's really great about this is that the first time you go, you'll take it, you'll get it filled up. And when you come back the second time, you'll bring your used one and just drop it off and it'll get cleaned for you and you'll get a new set. And so there's like sort of 2 sets for every person on campus. So this will be great. So it makes it much easier. You will have assigned times, whether it's as an early arrival, it may probably by your team. When you get back into those who are coming back on the 10th, it'll probably be based on some other system that will be shared as we get a little bit closer, but to limit the number of people that are in there getting their meals and then leaving.
Well, honestly, I just really want to ask these last 2 questions just to see what the kind of response is.
Sure.
But why are you forcing people to go to class until they do develop symptoms? Why can't I choose to, maybe not attend class if I am not feeling like the best that day, or if, maybe I'm starting to feel like maybe things aren't turning out too well on campus. Like, why do I still have to attend some of these classes to get my points to, maintain a good grade in the class?
Sure. Well, first of all, if you're not feeling well, we don't want you to go to class. If you are tired, that's not a reason not to go to class. So that's the distinction we want to make here is being in class, we believe, is the best option for students, generally speaking. Again, if you're not well, being in class is not the best option for you or for your classmates or your faculty member. But it shouldn't be about convenience. It should be about really what's the healthiest and best decision. If you feel like during the course of the semester that you're not comfortable on campus, that you want to return home, we're happy to work with you. So don't feel like this is sort of a one and done decision. As we get deeper into the semester, it's really very hard for all of us to predict what February, March, April are going to look like. We're going to be in this together. We're going to continue to be in conversation. And if you decide, I really feel like I need to go home, we'll work with you. You need to be in touch with student development, and we'll help you work through those plans and details and what that looks like.
Yeah, and to touch bases on what Dr. Thompson said, if you are not feeling well, like you wake up that morning and you're just not feeling well, like I said, we don't want you to go to class. Still do what we always ask you to do. Contact my department or myself in general so that we can be notified, and that way we can then monitor you as we throughout the day and the next day to make sure you are doing okay, and that maybe we need to act appropriately according to how you're doing. So it's very important that if you're not feeling that well, yes, we don't want you to go to class, but still contact my department so that we can notify registrar, we can notify the rest of your teachers, and that we know you're not feeling well, and we can keep an eye on you, and that make sure that you are doing okay. Or if we need to act in further protocols, we can do that.
And I also think that's a good piece that reminds us that we're all in this together. So your choice to go to class when you're not feeling well isn't best for the community, but also not telling Dan so that he can monitor you isn't best for the community. We've got to remember that we have both a personal and a community responsibility in all this.
All right, cool. And then this last one, it's just, I've definitely seen this echoed in a few chats. I feel it's just like a really clear sign that people are disgruntled with, whoever is making decisions for them. And it's just saying, why does the school only care about money? What is your response to kind of that viewpoint of KWU?
Yeah, I guess I'm a little bewildered by that viewpoint. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but we've worked really hard to make sure that students are well served through all this. The easiest thing for us to have done is just to be an online institution. We do it all from a distance. We don't have to worry about any of those things, but we don't believe that's what serves students best. We don't think it's what students want. And so we've worked tirelessly since last March to make sure we were doing all that we can through every step of this. And much of the time at more expense to the institution to make sure, again, everybody's going to be here for an extra week of quarantine. We're not charging you for that extra week. We're just eating those costs because it's the right thing to do. And so a lot of what we've been doing is at an expense to the institution, but always with an eye to best serving our students. And we feel like we've done well at that. We've done what we can to make sure that the experience has been as fulsome as possible, even within the limitations that are the best for our community.
Mm-hmm. I actually do remember one of the questions on here that I might not have even typed up, but I do remember it coming from the volleyball team. She was kind of just wondering this in terms, I'm assuming she's a senior, someone looking at graduating, but is, so graduation date's going to move now, is it not? Or...
So graduation is originally in the academic catalog as being May 15th. Mm-hmm. It will still be that weekend. We have not finalized if it'll be Friday night or if Saturday. We're dealing with some facilities to make sure what's the best location to make sure we can do it and do it in a way that's going to be safe for the number of people that'll be involved.
Okay, all right. Because her question was kind of just asking can we not be online for the first few days, and then it seems like she was kind of just assuming that it would be moved and going online for those few days so that we can keep graduation on its same date. But as of right now, it doesn't look like it's changing.
It doesn't. When the academic calendar for this year was set, it included spring break. And initially we've taken spring break out, and we actually moved the semester up. So we were going to graduate a week early compared to what was been printed. But when we decided to move the semester back, it actually put graduation back to where it was originally in the printed catalog and calendar.
I remember seeing in one of the emails that you sent out to update us on like how things would be like changing in the semester, the last few weeks of the fall semester. You talked about having like break days,
Yes.
kind of like later in the semester because we didn't get a fall break. And I mean, I know I was definitely feeling the slog. Could have definitely used a fall break
Sure.
in the middle of it. So how are those still going to work?
So there will, in addition to Good Friday, which is a no class day in April, there will be a no class day in February and in March. So it's only 3 days, but it does spread out. You will not go more than 4 weeks without a day off during the weekend there. So is it the same as the spring break? No, but they're really designed to be these mental health days once a month after we get past January, and January is a shorter month to begin with. So we'll put those days in to make sure there's some time to sort of stop, breathe, regroup, and be ready for the next period.
So it'll be like a Friday, like 3-day weekend kind of situation?
No, because we don't want people to go home. That's part of what we've found is that when people go home, that brings all sorts of things back to campus. So it'll either be a Tuesday or a Thursday in February. February is a Tuesday, and March is a Thursday. It will be a Friday for Good Friday, but again, that's Easter weekend. We are going to encourage people, depending on where we are as a world at that point, whether or not they should go home or not. We'll talk more about that as we get closer.
Well, I think I've literally asked every single question that I've had on here, and then I've even thrown in a few extra ones that I just had come up in my head just sitting here talking with you guys. So, I mean, if you guys have any closing comments you want to make or anything, go for it.
I would just like, to say, we are in this together as a community, as a PAC. There's been a lot of hours by this administration, by the COVID task force, trying to create a plan that will work for the students and keeping things safe. And so like for student athletes on my side, we can participate in sports this year. I know, and I haven't said this a lot, but last spring not having athletics was killer on my soul. I really missed it. And I know a lot of our students missed it too. So a lot of those measures we took and those extra costs that we did there is so that we can have these things somewhat of a normalcy this year and do the best that we can with what we have to work with, just so that we can all be here together as a family, as a PAC, and work together.
I would just say, again, thank you for asking the questions that your peers were thinking about. It's helpful. When I write the emails, they're very clear to me, and I know exactly what I'm trying to express, but it's not always the way it comes through. So hopefully this has been a good way to share some information in a more relaxed way to get a sense of really what's happening and why we're doing what we do. Know that whenever we make a decision, it has been after a lot of thought and consultation. These are almost never knee-jerk sort of decisions. They are based on what is best for our students, what is best for our campus. In addition to me, the administration, the faculty and staff here are here because we love working with our students. We want you to have a great experience, and we're going to do all that we can to keep you safe and healthy while you do that. And we can't wait till you're back in January or in December for those who are early arriving, so that we can keep going, so we can have another great spring semester and do what you're here to do, which is to get a great education and continue being involved in the activities you love.
Great. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it a lot. Just being able to sit down and, have just an honest conversation. When I sent this email to you, I highlighted the questions that I wanted to be answered, and then I got here and you guys just handed me my question and said, go for it, just ask whatever. So really, really do appreciate it. I've been here for 4 years, and I know that with COVID, definitely in some other places of parts of the country, it's definitely different situations than here in Salina. And so, even though this week might really suck, it's going to be 2 weeks for the winter sports or the sports coming back early, just to at least have the opportunity to, finish my education, on ground, because that last spring semester was not fun,
right.
Mm-hmm.
And to even have the opportunity to do sports, it's just, I really appreciate it. At this point, if sports happen, I don't really care. I just care more about just being able to try and be on ground and knowing that you guys are putting so much thought into it. I just wanted to try and at least share what I was able to be told about in our meeting last week. Yeah. So, I just appreciate you guys wanting to work with me on it. So,
sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Roll Yotes.
Roll Yotes.